Good afternoon. This is Oshiro. I'm an American English pronunciation coach. I just finished, live streaming in Japanese, but this time it's different. I'm going to talk about the Japanese bowing etiquette. The reason I'm doing this is that because I kept telling my students in taking the English lesson from me to do a live streaming as many times as possible or much as possible. But then on the other hand, I haven't done much, especially in English, which is my second language. I mean, my mother tongue is Japanese, so I hope to be able to show a good example to my students that I've been doing by myself. I mean, it's really hard. It's kind of very difficult, experience for me too. Also, I mean, talking to someone. Anyway, uh, first of all, today as I said, as you know that you have seen so many Japanese in TV or movies or any magazine or whatever, the bowing and some pictures show that Japanese always seems to be bowing to somebody or some and many occasions. So I just want to explain about why and how. What do you mean? What this bowing means to Japanese? So first of all, I'm sure that you're already aware now that bowing is a kind of showing respect, admiration to a person who you meet or you talk to on the street or over the phone. Even sometimes I'm sure that you have witnessed. I mean, if you are living in Japan, though, I'm referring to the foreigners living in Japan. That is that quite often that you see Japanese men, women while talking on the phone and bowing. Although he or she is not talking to anybody, it's just talking and standing while standing, but yet he bows or she bows to that imaginary person while talking on the phone. So that's what I'm trying to say is that bowing is kind of it's become habit or the customary thing for Japanese. Whenever you feel that you like to say thank you, apologize, or the admiration, respect, all kinds of feelings in it. This bowing, and speaking of this bowing, that is, I'm maybe some of you might have heard about it. That is that the this bowing etiquette started with the Japanese warriors long time ago. I think about 16th century, 15th century or something. Anyway, that was part of the Bushido, is the which describes the rules and the disciplines about what what the Japanese samurai should be, and the part of that doctrines or is this bowing. So, in order to show your respect and the admiration for the person you talk to, you are supposed to do a bowing. And there are three types of bowing. First is what we call eshaku. It's kind of you bent you bent you bent your back, and then your back should be kept the straight and the body below the waist should stay still and vertical throughout this bowing gesture, and the it's supposed to be you bow in the degree of about 15 degrees. Yeah, right, 15 degrees from the vertical, imaginary vertical line, and show that, when that's we call eshaku. When you meet someone or the first time or somebody, and then you just light greeting, you passing by, even colleagues, your co-workers, you just bow a little bit. That's one, right? Second one is K-Day. K-Day is that you bow, you bend, your the body, the upper body, about 30 degrees, right? 30 degrees. So this is the typical Japanese man. I mean, the bowing etiquette way of doing it in the Japanese business world. And all those first thing that Japanese companies do teach uh, newly the hired college graduate is to how to bow properly, because in Japan bowing is very important custom. That, as I said at the beginning of this in the episode, that you show your respect, admiration, or sometimes it's a way of the expressing your apology or things like this. So first thing that newly hired college graduates learn is to how to bow properly. This is a must. Everybody has to take it. Although if you being hired in the middle, I mean on the way, say you joined from another company, then you don't have to do that. You abstain from taking such a class. I mean the business manner club or classes. But normally, all those newly hired newcomers or newly hired employees, especially coming out of the colleges, must learn or take this lesson. And another things, what I understood is that when in the olden days, when the samurai warriors fight in the battle, they normally you have to declare your name, ranking, and name organ where what ranking you are and which organization you belong to, and then before you start fighting. That way, that's showing the respect to that opponent, enemy. And the are the two types of bowing. That is bowing while kneeling. This is the bowing you normally observe when you visit, take the tea ceremony or flower arrangement classes, or when you visit martial arts stables like judo, karate, and the sumo, kendo, uh, yumi, that sort of things. All those old Japanese martial arts. When you enter the stable, before you enter, you're supposed to bow and show your respect to the master, and also normally there is the headmaster of that stable, and you find that his or her picture on the wall, up in the wall. So you're supposed to bow that before you enter, and then even when you sit down on your knees and you bow and before you been the game or competition or the whatever starts, you start practicing with them, or you start having some sort of race or matches. You're supposed to bow to each other, and even after you finish the match, again, also bow, and then you leave. Before you leave that stable, you bow again. See, can you see that? So bowing is kind of it's been practiced for many years, and then even you when you visit these temples, Buddhist temples or Shinto shrines to worship, you also bow. There's certain ways of bowing, depending which the sacred places you visit. Though you bow 3 times or clap your hands 3 times or things like this. So you just have to follow, or maybe best way is to just imitate whatever the Japanese is doing. I mean, visiting there, I'm sure that you find the Japanese doing that. So that's kind of a bowing is always way. You just have to do that in order to show respect and admiration. And then the lastly, though, that the bowing also, and as I said, is a part one way about the apologizing. That's when you make a mistake, or you cause some inconveniences, or you put someone in the trouble, and for whatever the reason is, that you're supposed to bow, and then you say, "I'm very sorry," while doing that bowing. You're supposed to say that, and then normally you bow to say about 45 degrees. All kind. So and another things these that the when you this is it's not really common though, is that the when you make a really severe or some big mistakes, you're supposed to knee sit on your knees and bow. You put your hands right in front of them, and then you touch your ground with your forehead and say apologize. That's a way of showing your biggest apology for whatever you have done. That's about it. Thank you very much. I hope you understand part of it, but I try to do this every day if possible. I mean, if time allows. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye now.